What's up guys, my name is Matthew and today we're doing my June wrap up. Alright, I had not a good reading month and not a bad reading month. I had a mediocre reading month. I read 6 books and I DNF'd 2 books. I'm getting much better at DNFing books. I used to feel really guilty about it, but now I'm just kind of like throwing them to the side if I'm not into it. But yeah, out of those 6 books, one of them was like a 4.5. That was, almost a 5-star book. I had 1 4-star book, 3 3-star books, and then I think 1 2-star and the rest were DNF. So it was a mediocre month for me. I'm gonna start, before I start, yes, I'm wearing a Disney cat shirt, so you can make fun of me in the comments, I don't really care. But I was supposed to be going to Disney World tomorrow, but we had to cancel because my friend had a medical emergency, so I'm not going to Disney World, so I'm kind of sad, but it's okay. I'm wearing a Disney cat shirt instead and talking about books. All good. All right, so let's start with my favorite book of June that I read, and that is The Darkness Outside Us by Eliot Schrefer. This is a library book. I don't like have most of the books that I read this month because either I've already unhauled it, they're library books, or I sold it online. So I don't really have any books to hold up, so I'll have to put them up. But this is one that I still have. I need to return this to the library. And this book was really, really good. This is marketed as kind of a gay male space romance. And I've watched a lot of videos and people are saying that it's not like that at all. And it's really actually quite adult and quite sci-fi and not really this young adult male romance. And I agree with that. This read very adult, it read very sci-fi, and the male romance was definitely like a back burner plot point to this book, but I loved it. It gave me everything that the Andy Weir, what's it called? Hail Mary. This gave me very Hail Mary vibes, and I actually like this more than Hail Mary, don't come at me. This book is about 2 guys named Ambrose and Kodiak, and they're each from the 2 remaining countries on Earth, because we're way in the future and there's only 2 countries left on Earth, and they are both on this space mission where they are being sent to the moon of Saturn called Titan to save Ambrose's older sister who sent out a distress signal. So they are on this super high-tech spaceship with an operating system that's very intelligent, that uses the same voice as Ambrose's mother. So, he wakes up out of this coma, and the operating system is the same voice as his mom. And like I said, it's really not a romance book. Obviously, there's romance elements that ensue between the 2 boys. The boys have fantastic banter, but the majority of this book is about space survival, figuring out who they can trust, what's happening back on Earth, what's happening out on Titan, what's really going on, why are they sent out on a spaceship, how are they going to survive. They find out some twists and turns. This book gets kind of dark, not dark, but there's a lot of twists that you're like, whoa, did not see that coming. And like I said, it's very not young adult, it's very sci-fi, very fun, and I really liked the story. The story was very good. I highly recommend this book, especially if you like sci-fi, or if you're like me and you read maybe 4 or 5 sci-fi books a year. That's actually generous. I don't read that many sci-fi books. I might read 2 or 3. But I highly recommend this. If you liked Hail Mary, I think you would like this book. If you like male romance books, I think you would like this book. The most interesting part of this book for me was definitely the spaceship. I just loved how high-tech it was. I love how the operating system had its own personality and was super intelligent. And yeah, I liked it. This was definitely a surprise, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. And definitely recommend. Okay, the next book I'm going to talk about, I read my second Jennifer Hillier book, and it was fantastic. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and it is called Little Secrets. I went into this book knowing nothing. I literally got it from the library and opened it up and started reading it, not knowing a damn thing about the book. And I'm telling you, I recommend you go into it like that. And don't know anything, just know that it is a thriller. That's all you need to know. But if you do want to know what it's about, you can keep on watching. If not, just skip to the next book. But this is about a girl named Maren. And one day we open up in Seattle and she's at the Pike Place Market, I think that's what it's called, with her little boy who's about 4, and they're shopping for Christmas, I believe, and the little boy goes missing and no one knows what happened. There's video footage of the little boy being taken, and we jump about a year, and Maren's still obviously very upset because they have not found her son. She has her relationship with her husband is not very good. They don't really talk. She hired a private detective to kind of look into figuring out what happened to her son. The reason I'm saying don't go into this book, I'm literally walking through the book, and this is what the back of the book says. So I don't know why they tell you, I'm literally telling you the book right now, so just skip. But this is what they have on the back of the book, so I'm keeping going. And through the detective, she realizes that her husband might not be being faithful. That's all I'm gonna say. And the book follows their relationship, how her losing her son affected her and making her do other things to her husband. It's a wild ride. There's some twists and turns at the end. What Jennifer Hillier is really good at is writing characters, making you care, and yeah, this was fantastic. It wasn't a 5-star because I wasn't like as connected to the characters, but I definitely loved it. So if you like Jar of Hearts, I think you will like this one. I really like her writing style, and I really like the way she writes thrillers because she puts time into the characters and not just, bam, twist. She's like really gets you deeply invested in the characters. So yeah, this was a 4-star, really enjoyed it. Hopefully you didn't listen to me tell you the book because I feel like I just told you the whole book, but I would go into it knowing nothing, pick it up, and what I'm going on, moving forward, I am not going to read the back of any Jennifer Hillier book. I'm just going to either buy it, rent it, whatever, and just start not knowing anything because it was so much fun that way, and it makes the twists so much more enjoyable because there's twists that aren't even considered twists if you don't read the back of the book because the back of the book spoils half of it. All right, I'm done. All right, the next book I read was Counterfeit by Kirsten, Chen. And this was a fun book. I gave it 3 stars. It's in that same category of like the cozy mystery or the cozy thriller where it doesn't really take itself that seriously and it's more of a fun ride. But at the end, you're kind of like, meh. That's how I felt. I felt like I enjoyed the book, but it's nothing to write home about. It was a fun ride. We're following this woman named Ava, who is a lawyer, and she has a husband and a child, but she hasn't worked in a long time, and her life's just kind of like, meh. She's not, getting along with her husband. Her son's throwing temper tantrums and can't get into the best schools, so that's all her life is dealing with. And then enter this woman named Winnie. And Winnie went to college with Ava, but Winnie dropped out of college randomly and they haven't really spoken since. And Winnie comes to Ava with this idea of counterfeit of designer bags. And Winnie has this whole scheme. What you do is you go to, the Nordstrom or Saks or the actual designer store and you buy the really expensive bag. You take it home, and then they have these really, really good replicas that they go and return the bag so that Saks or whatever thinks that you're returning the same bag, but you're actually returning a counterfeit. So we're following their journey of the scheme they're running and how big it gets and how out of hand it gets and how the people they're working for have even bigger issues going on. And like I said, it's a fun ride. Do I think you have to read it? No. If you're a big fan of the cozy mystery, cozy thriller where the books don't take itself that seriously, I would recommend it. I tend to always give these types of books 3 stars. Any cozy mystery, any cozy thriller, I've never given above a 3-star because it just really doesn't do anything for me. It's a fun ride, but nothing ever happens. You don't really care because it's just light. And I don't know, maybe people will disagree with me and think that this isn't light, that it's really high stakes, but for me it was light. Easy read. The book is short, very short book. I think I read it in a day and a half. So it's one you can fly through. So if you're looking for a quick, light, mindless book, I would recommend Counterfeit. But if I'm being honest, it kind of fell flat for me and I was a little bit let down through the execution of the book. I wanted more out of it. I thought I was gonna like it more than I did. But yeah, that's Counterfeit by Kirsten Chen. The next book I gave 3 stars to is The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon. This was my first Heather McMahon book. Heather McMahon is a comedian that I like. Jennifer McMahon, this is the first Jennifer McMahon book that I read, and it was okay. I read this for Gabby Reed's Book Troop Book Club. I don't know, I'm actually having difficulty remembering the plot of this book, and I read it this month, so that probably tells you it didn't really stick with me. Most people that have read this really enjoyed it, give it 4 to 5 stars. For me, it was okay. It didn't really read like a horror book, because I think Jennifer McMahon is known for writing horror. It didn't feel like horror for me. It felt like a thriller, but I really wasn't invested. But this is a very not popular opinion because most people are loving this book, so take it as you will. What is it about? It's a book with dual timelines. We're going in the late 1970s where this woman, we'll call her Graham because that's what she's called, and she works at this psychiatric hospital, and she takes care of people, and she has 2 grandchildren, Vi and Eric, I believe. Graham brings this girl, what the fuck is her name? I don't know. So they bring a little girl. I've already forgot her name. So she goes and lives with them. It gives me Stranger Things vibes because it's this little girl who's kind of weird. No one knows what happened. Her parents died in an accident. Yeah, I don't want to tell you too much. In the present day, we're following a girl named Lizzie who is going back to this town because a girl has been abducted, and she's talking about how her sister is a monster, and there's this whole talk about monsters, and it just didn't work for me. It just didn't click. I didn't really get invested. I feel like I did a very poor job explaining it, but I don't remember most of it, and I just read the damn book, so that's not a good sign. Either Either the book just didn't sit with me or my brain's failing. So take it for what it's worth. It was okay. I still need to read The Winter People. I will eventually, but this was my first Jennifer McMahon, and All right, we have to talk about it. I did read The House Across the Lake, the new Riley Sager book. If you know, Riley Sager is one of my favorite thriller authors, but his last book, last year, Survive the Night, was a huge flop for me. I ended up giving it 2 stars. Everyone on BookTube is destroying this book, saying it's awful, terrible, one of the worst books they ever read. And I see their point, but I am not going to be jumping on the bandwagon of tearing this book apart. Do I think it was a great book? No, I probably am going to give it 2.5. I think I've rounded it up to 3 on Goodreads, but it was okay. I liked it more than I liked To Survive the Night. A lot of people are having issues with it because there's this there's a paranormal twist at the end. And as you guys know, if you watch my videos, I'm okay with a paranormal twist if I know it's coming. So when the paranormal twist did come, I wasn't like shocked or wasn't upset like most people on BookTube seem to be very upset about the twist. What I have a problem with is the first 200 pages that were so damn boring. It followed like your typical thriller where the woman is unreliable, she has a substance abuse problem, is the husband next door, did he kill his wife? Like we've watched those movies, we've heard this story so many times, and the first 200 pages of this book are literally just a repeat of that story. Then you get to page like 200-ish, and then you get this paranormal twist. I will say there are some twists that aren't paranormal that I really liked. I'm hearing people say that there was no need for this to be a paranormal twist. Riley Sager had some really good twists that came. I really did like them. I agree to an extent, but like this is his book, so if he wanted to put a paranormal twist in it, like he can put a paranormal twist in it. But there are some fun twists that aren't paranormal at the end that I really liked how he did. My biggest complaint with this book is that the first 200 pages are very, very boring. Have I even told you what this book is about? I'm sure you already know if you're on BookTube, but this book is about this woman named Casey Fletcher, and Casey Fletcher is a celebrity. She's been in musicals and plays and TV shows, movies, I think. But her husband died a year ago on this lake where she's now residing. And so she has like a drinking problem. And across the lake, the house across the lake, moves in this model and her tech husband. And the model disappears. And Casey, who's drinking her bourbon every day, thinks that her husband killed the woman. So she's like kind of gets like obsessed with stalking this man and figuring out what happened to his wife. Did he kill her? Where did she go? So there's 200 pages of that. Then the twist comes. Is the twist stupid? Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew it was gonna be stupid. So I really didn't have a problem with it. And then there's more twists that come that aren't paranormal, that are fun and I didn't see coming. I like this book better than Survive the Night. I did. A lot of people are giving this book really low ratings. I mean, do you have to read this book? No. Would I recommend you read this book? No. If you've read every other Riley Sager book, I know you're still gonna read this book. So I don't, like, that's how I am. Like, even if I didn't like it, I'm gonna read his book that comes out next summer. So I don't know why we're all complaining, because we're all gonna read his book again next summer. But this one was better than Survive the Night. It's not as bad as everyone's saying. I just thought the first half was boring. Paranormal twist was meh. I've read worse paranormal books, if that says anything. And one of my first videos on this channel was a reading vlog for Survive the Night. I'll put it up here, where I just destroyed that book. So I was gonna do a reading vlog for this one, but I was scared I was gonna be super negative about this book, and I didn't want like my channel to be bullying Riley Sager. So I decided against doing a reading vlog for this book. Yeah, it was okay, and it was fine. I don't think you need to read it unless you want to. That's what I think about it. It's nothing to write home about. I feel like that's about all the books I read this month. Nothing to write home about. This month I finally got to The Song of Achilles. I did a complete reading vlog discussing my thoughts that I will put up here, so I won't talk too much about it in this video. That being said, I did not enjoy it. I gave it 2 stars. It was not for me. I see why people like it. I think it was very pretty, very beautifully written, but as for the plot, I don't know, I just found it incredibly boring. It was a book about war. I feel like everyone's making it seem like it's this beautiful male-male romance, which it is, but at the same time, it's still a book about war and just, I don't know, about like Greek tragedy, and I just found it incredibly boring. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about a guy named Achilles, a dude named Achilles, and he is part god. I think his mom's a goddess, so does that make him part god? I don't really know. But he is, oh my God, I don't even like want to talk about this book. Like I'm just, So there's Achilles, And then there's this little guy named Patroclus, and Achilles is like super confident and like, ooh, sexy muscles. And then Patroclus is like this nerdy, like quiet, like not confident guy. And he follows Achilles around like a little puppy. And Achilles goes off to war to save Helen of Sparta. And Patroclus comes with him, follows him. Like, do people really like this book? I just like, even thinking about it's making me bored. Like, I don't even want to talk about this book. Yeah, I know. I think most people love it. I guess I just don't appreciate books like that. It's me, not the book. Yeah, I don't know. I just did not like this book. And if you want my complete thoughts, if you want me to see my reactions and everything like that, just scroll up and look at the other video, because I don't want to talk about this book, and it was not good for me. Sorry. This is really mean and just not a very good wrap up, but I don't want to talk about it. That's how I feel about this book. Okay, the first book that I DNF'd this month, I don't want to talk long about it because I frankly thought it was so boring, and I don't want to talk about it that much, but it was Never Coming Home by Hannah Mary McKinnon. I read about 150 pages of this book and nothing happened. This book is about a guy who hires someone to kill his rich wife because he's trying to inherit all of her money. So it opens up with the wife disappearing, and we're inside the guy's head who's trying to like play sad, like he has no idea what happened to his wife. His wife's mom is in the hospital dying, so he's hoping that he's going to inherit all this money. And we're at 150, nothing's happened. I'm assuming the wife's not dead. The wife has to not be dead. I don't care, because I was so freaking bored. If you're gonna write a book like this, you need to have twists that come like throughout the book. You can't just have 150 pages of me being inside your head where you paid a hitman to kill your wife, because I know she's likely not dead. I mean, this is a thriller book, a psychological thriller. I know she's probably not dead. So yeah, I just DNF'd it. I don't care. Is she alive? I don't care. You can tell me in the comments, or don't spoil it for other people, but I'm assuming she's not dead. And I don't care because it was boring. And that's all I want to talk about with this book. And if you liked it, good, but it was just so like, nothing to write home about. This next book I DNF'd, I do want to talk about. I DNF'd it after 40 pages. It is called The Sluts by Dennis Cooper. And I've watched a few videos of other people talking about this book. And people warned me. People told me that this book is very graphic, it's very intense. And I still bought it. And I don't think I realized how graphic and how intense, or the type of intense this book was, until I bought it. So I'm going to try to be very clear with you when I explain this, so you don't fall for the same trap that I did. Or if you do want to read this book, at least you know what you're getting yourself into. This is a book set up like a message board, where each chapter or each section is set up like a message board post where like a man would write like something posted online. And it's all about this escort named Brad. And we're getting all of these stories of like their experience with Brad and rating this escort, telling stories about what they did with this escort. And I only got to page 40 because I went into this book thinking it was going to be definitely a little like gritty, like, oh, you know, maybe some 50 Shades of Grey, some, you know, it's going to be sexual, but, you know, maybe intense. I mean, I read Karen Slaughter, so I'm used to intense. You guys, this book, it is sexual torture, or just torture in general. And I don't want to give examples because I don't want there to be videos of me saying the types of things that I read in this book. But this is not a smutty sexual book. It is a book where these men are writing online about this escort and the torture, the graphic, violent things they did to this escort. And I would read a little section and be like, what the fuck? Why am I reading? Like, it made me so angry because I didn't care about like what was happening. I felt like the author was manipulating me and was thinking like, oh, let me think of the most fucked up thing I can put on a piece of paper and publish it. Because that's what it felt like when I was reading. It was just like things that I had never even, like, my brain had never even thought of that you could do to another human being. I felt like I was reading something illegal. So I don't have the book anymore. It's already been unhauled. I'm being dramatic. I'm definitely being dramatic. I texted a friend and I said, I'm on page 40 and I'm very mad and I don't like this. And he said, then you don't like extreme horror. And I guess I don't like extreme horror because it is extreme. And I'm warning you, this is extreme. This isn't like some sexy book. This is a book and you're reading about these message board posts, about these awful things they did to this escort, or whether they even did it, whether what the people are posting on the message board is even true, whether this escort is even real, because people are like thinking that it's fake. I only got to page 40. I don't know how the book ends. I don't care. I'm just warning you. If you like reading about people being tortured, then I would recommend The Sluts. If you're looking for like some gay thriller or with some sex, I would not recommend this book because it is not cute. It is not cute. It is really fucked up. But yeah, do you. I'm not judging you. If you want to read this, go ahead. But I've warned you, this is a very vile, vile book, and I will never read another book by this author. Does that mean? I don't care. Like, it was just not for me. So yeah, that concludes this month. I don't know, like this month kind of sucked, right? I wasn't excited to film this video because I feel like except for the darkness outside of us, which I definitely, cat's gotta go to the bathroom because I'm talking. But yeah, this is the only book that I actually would recommend, like wholeheartedly. And the Jennifer Hillier book, I would recommend that one too. But I am actually going to release a TBR video this month, which I haven't done since, a year, because I have so many exciting books I want to talk about. So I will see you guys, expect a video in the coming days, and I will see you guys soon.